The crystal champagne flute shattered against the marble floor of the grand ballroom at the plaza, shards scattering like the fragments of Oakley's heart she'd long pretended to glue back together. "Oh, honey. Don't look so tragic, it's just business," Riley purred, her laughter slicing through the hum of cocktail chatter like a knife through silk, her manicured hand dismissing Oakley with a flick as if she were swatting a fly. In that instant, as the bubbly fizzled into a sticky puddle at her sensible black pumps, Oakley realized the wedding she'd poured her soul into planning wasn't a celebration of love, it was Riley's final, glittering fuck you. Oakley Rivers had always believed in second acts. Born in the sticky heat of a Brooklyn summer to a single mom who scrubbed floors in Manhattan high-rises, she'd clawed her way up from interning at cramped event spaces to becoming the go-to junior planner at Elegance Events, a boutique wedding firm nestled in the shadow of the Empire State Building. 28. With her sharp wit and sharper eye for detail, Oakley could transform a blank canvas into a dreamscape, fairy lights dripping from chandeliers like stardust, tables groaning under peony cascades, string quartets weaving melodies that made strangers weep. But dreams, she'd learned the hard way, had a nasty habit of curdling into nightmares. Started 6 months ago, in the sterile fluorescence of Elegance's conference room, when Riley Kensington waltzed in like she owned the place because, in a way, she did. Riley, Oakley's ex of 3 agonizing years, the woman who'd whispered forever into her ear under the sheets of their tiny Williamsburg loft, now arm in arm with her fiancé, a blandly handsome tech bro named Chad whose idea of romance was upgrading Riley's iPhone. Oakley, darling, Riley had cooed, air-kissing both cheeks with the enthusiasm of a sorority pledge. Fancy seeing you here. Chad and I want something epic, think Great Gatsby meets modern minimalism. And you'll handle it personally, won't you? For old times' sake. Old times. The words landed like a sucker punch. Oakley remembered those times. Lazy Sundays tangled in Egyptian cotton they'd splurged on with Riley's trust fund bonus. Road trips upstate where they'd skinny dip in chilly Hudson streams. Riley's fingers tracing constellations on Oakley's back, as they dreamed of a life unbound by labels or legacies. They'd met at NYU. Riley the golden girl from Connecticut old money, Oakley the scholarship kid with fire in her veins. It was electric. Forbidden in Riley's waspy world, but real until it wasn't. Until Riley, fresh off a promotion at her daddy's hedge fund, confessed over takeout Thai that she needed space to figure out who I am. Code for, I need a man who won't make my family clutch their pearls. Oakley had nodded, throat tight, and packed her boxes that night. No scene. No begging. Just a quiet unraveling. But planning this wedding? That was the universe's cruelest joke. She took the gig anyway, because turning it down meant admitting defeat. And Oakley Rivers didn't do defeat. She dove in headfirst, sourcing vintage crystal from estate sales in the Hamptons, curating a menu of truffle-infused canapés and ethically sourced caviar, even convincing a Broadway florist to craft centerpieces that evoked wild English gardens. Every detail screamed Riley opulent, effortless, untouchable. The first red flag fluttered during the venue walkthrough at the plaza. Chet, nursing a Scotch neat, clapped Oakley on the back a little too hard. You're a lifesaver. Oh. Riley says you're basically family. Riley, perched on a velvet chaise like a queen, shot him a playful glare. More like the help, babe. Remember how she used to organize my sorority mixers? Adorable. The word hung in the air, laced with condescension, and Oakley's stomach twisted. The help. As if they're shared tattoos, the tiny wave on Riley's wrist matching the one on Oakley's ankle, meant nothing. As if the nights Riley had sobbed into Oakley's shoulder about her parents' icy disapproval of that phase were just a quirky footnote. Oakley swallowed the bile rising in her throat and forced a smile. Whatever makes it perfect for you too. Inside, though, the embers of resentment flickered to life. She threw herself into the work, staying late to tweak lighting cues, her tiny studio apartment in Bed-Stuy becoming a war room of mood boards and vendor contracts. Her best friend, Lena, a no-nonsense queer bartender with a buzz cut and a laugh like thunder, tried to stage an intervention over late-night empanadas. "Babe, this is masochism. Walk away. There are a million weddings in this city dying for your magic." But Oakley couldn't. Not when every lace swatch reminded her of the dress Riley wore on their first anniversary. Not when the playlist she'd curated included Yellow by Coldplay, the song that played as they danced barefoot in the rain. It was torture. Exquisite and unending. But it fueled her. In the quiet hours, sketching floral arches under her desk lamp, Oakley dreamed not of revenge, but of redemption. Of proving she was more than the shadow Riley cast. As the wedding date loomed, June 15th, a sweltering Saturday that promised rooftop views of the Hudson sparkling like diamonds, the cracks began to show. Vendors grumbled about Riley's endless revisions. More gold leaf on the invitations? But ma'am, we're already at $15,000 for stationery. Chet, ever the peacemaker, deferred to Riley, who wielded her demands like a scepter. Oakley mediated, her voice steady even as her hands shook. During a cake tasting at a Soho patisserie, Riley leaned in close, her perfume Chanel No. 5, the scent that still haunted Oakley's dreams, tickling her nose. "You always had the best taste." "Oh, Chad's hopeless with this stuff. It's why I kept you around back then. Kept you around." The phrase echoed, a venomous whisper. Oakley excused herself to the bathroom, splashing cold water on her face, staring at her reflection, full lips pressed thin, dark eyes ringed with exhaustion, curls frizzing in the humidity. Who was this woman? Bending over backward for ghosts? She texted Lena, "Kill me now." Lena's reply buzzed back, "Or kill the vibe. Own your power. Girl." Power. The word lodged in her chest like a splinter. Elegance Events was teetering, its founder, a silver-haired dynamo named Margot, drowning in debt from a bad expansion into corporate galas. Whispers in the industry said the firm was on the auction block, ripe for a buyout. Oakley had been stashing away her commissions, dreaming of her own label, Rivers and Blooms, intimate weddings that celebrated love in all its messy, unapologetic glory. But buying in, that would mean confronting demons head-on. The betrayal hit like a freight train 2 weeks out. Oakley arrived at the final fitting in Riley's atelier off Madison Avenue, arms laden with fabric swatches, only to find Riley in the dressing room mirror, Chad's arms around her waist, their laughter spilling out like champagne. But it wasn't Chad's voice that froze her blood, it was Riley's, low and intimate, on the phone to her mother. "Yes, Mom. It's all set. The planner's that old fling. Can you believe it? She's eating it up. The poor thing. Thinks she's indispensable. After the wedding, we'll cut her loose. Daddy's firm can handle the honeymoon details." Oakley backed away, heart hammering, the swatches crumpling in her fists. The poor thing.
Indispensable.
It wasn't just mockery, it was erasure. Reducing their love to a punchline. A stepping stone to Riley's picture-perfect life. She fled to the street, hailing a cab through blurring tears. The city a smear of yellow taxis and honking fury. Back in her apartment, she paced, rage coiling like smoke. That night, she called her accountant, a wiry guy named Theo who'd handled her mom's estate, and crunched numbers until dawn. She had enough for a down payment. Barely. If she leveraged everything, her savings, her 401k, even selling her vintage Vespa. It was insane. It was necessary. The offer went in the next morning. $250,000 for 51% of Elegance events. Margot, bleary-eyed over Zoom from her Hamptons hideaway, accepted by noon. Kid, you're either brilliant or suicidal, she rasped, signing off with a wry grin. Oakley didn't care. By evening, she was CEO on paper. At least. The staff meeting the next day was electric. Her colleagues, a ragtag family of florists and coordinators, erupted in cheers as she announced the buyout. We're not just surviving, she told them, voice steady for the first time in months. We're rewriting the story. Riley's wedding became Oakley's proving ground. She poured the last of her fury into perfection. The rooftop transformed into an ethereal wonderland. Bioluminescent orbs floating like fireflies. A string quartet blending Vivaldi with Billie Holiday. Guests hedge fund titans in Tom Ford tuxes. Socialites dripping in Tiffany oud and awed. Toasting the flawless execution. Chet, tipsy on vintage Dom, pulled Oakley aside during the cocktail hour. You're a wizard. Riley was right about you, was she? Oakley smiled tightly, scanning the crowd until her eyes locked on Riley, radiant in her gown, circulating like a shark in silk. Their gazes met across the parquet dance floor, and for a split second, the old spark flared, regret in Riley's eyes, resolve in Oakley's. Then Riley turned away, linking arms with her maid of honor, a bubbly brunette who'd once been Oakley's rival for Riley's attention. The ceremony unfolded like clockwork, vows exchanged under a floral arch heavy with gardenias. Chad's voice cracking on I do, the officiant, a progressive judge with a rainbow pin, pronouncing them hitched amid applause. Oakley watched from the sidelines, clipboard in hand, the weight of her new title a secret armor. As the reception kicked off, with a jazz band swinging into At Last, she slipped into the bridal suite to adjust the cake display. That's when Riley cornered her, the door clicking shut like a trap. You, Riley breathed, cheeks flushed from the altar glow. What the hell was that look earlier? Still bitter. Oak, it's been years. Oakley set down the cake knife with deliberate calm, turning to face her ex. Close. Riley was breathtaking, freckles dusted across her nose like cinnamon, lips painted a bold crimson that begged to be kissed. But Oakley saw the cracks now, the faint lines of worry around those cornflower eyes, the way her fingers twisted the hem of her veil. Bitter? No. Just clear-eyed. Congrats. By the way. Chad seems thrilled. Riley's laugh was brittle, echoing off the guilt mirrors. He's fine. Safe. You know how it is, family expectations. The whole heteronormative circus. But you. You were always the wild one. The one who made me feel alive. She stepped closer, the scent of jasmine and champagne enveloping Oakley like a siren's call. Remember that night in the loft? When we painted each other's nails electric blue and swore we'd run away to Paris? Oakley's pulse thrummed, traitorous memories flooding back. Riley's laughter bubbling like soda, her body warm and yielding under starlit sheets. I remember, she whispered, hating the huskiness in her voice. I also remember you choosing the circus over us. Calling me the help to your friends. To your mom. Was it worth it? Riley flinched, color draining from her face. That was heat of the moment bullshit. I was scared. Okay, scared of losing everything. But this, she gestured vaguely at the door. The party beyond. This isn't me. Chad's proposal was this big production on a yacht. And I said yes because... Inertia? Pressure? I don't know. And now you're here. Making it all so beautiful. And it hurts. Because it should be us out there. The confession hung heavy. A grenade with the pin half pulled. Oakley's chest ached. Old wounds ripping open. Part of her, the part that still loved Riley with a ferocity that scared her, wanted to pull her close. To rewrite the script with stolen kisses and whispered apologies. But the CEO in her, the woman who'd bought her freedom with blood money, held firm. It could have been, she said softly, stepping back. But you chose the stage lights over the spotlight we shared. And I'm done being your understudy. Riley's eyes welled. Mascara threatening to smudge. Oakley. Please. Don't leave like this. We could. The door burst open then. Chad's voice booming jovially. There you are. Babe. Time for the first dance. He froze, sensing the electricity. But Riley plastered on a smile, looping her arm through his. Coming. Love. As they exited, she glanced back. A plea in her gaze that Oakley ignored. The rest of the night blurred. Toasts clinking. Cake sliced with ceremonial flair. Guests twirling under paper lanterns. Oakley orchestrated it all flawlessly. Her team a well-oiled machine. But inside, a storm raged. When the final notes faded and the last Uber whisked away a giggling bridesmaid, she lingered on the rooftop. The city lights a constellation of possibility below. Lena arrived with greasy slices from their favorite late-night spot, plopping down beside her on a wicker chaise. You did it. Boss lady. How's it feel? Oakley exhaled, the tension uncoiling like a released spring. Like I've shed a skin. Like I'm finally breathing. She recounted the sweet confrontation, the words tumbling out raw and unfiltered. Lena listened, then nudged her shoulder. That's your hook, girl. The ex who got away or didn't. But you? You're the one who stayed true. What's next? Next. The word shimmered with promise. Over the following weeks, Elegance, now Rivers Events, flourished under Oakley's vision. She pivoted to inclusive packages, elopements for queer couples in hidden speakeasies, vow renewals on Brooklyn stoops with soul food buffets. Clients poured in, drawn to her authenticity, her refusal to bow to cookie-cutter traditions. The buyout made headlines in Bride and Groom Monthly, from Heartbreak to Empire, the planner who owned her story. Riley's honeymoon postcards arrived sporadically, Bali sunsets, Tuscan vineyards, each one a tentative olive branch. Thinking of you. Miss our talks. Our Oakley filed them away, unread after the first. Chad posted on LinkedIn about marital bliss, but whispers reached her through mutuals, arguments in paradise. Riley's restlessness like an itch she couldn't scratch. 3 months post-wedding. On a crisp October evening, Riley showed up at Oakley's office unannounced. The space had transformed. Exposed brick walls lined with Polaroids of joyful couples. A neon sign buzzing love. Unscripted. Riley stood in the doorway, No makeup. Hair in a messy bun. Wearing jeans and a faded Smith's tee that Oakley recognized from their college days. I left him, she said simply. Voice cracking. The marriage was a mistake from the jump. I thought it would fix me. Make me normal. But all it did was show me what I lost. Oakley leaned back in her leather chair, the skyline framing her like a halo. Part of her wanted to leap across the desk, to taste the salt of Riley's tears and pretend time was a river they could dam. But wisdom, hard one, held her steady. You didn't lose me. You let me go. And in doing that, you gave me this. She gestured to the room. The empire built on ashes. I'm not the girl who planned your wedding anymore. I'm the one who plans her own future. Tears spilled down Riley's cheeks. But she nodded, a ghost of a smile breaking through. I know. And I'm proud of you. God. Oakley. You're glowing. I just needed to say I'm sorry. For the mockery. The betrayal. For choosing fear over us. The apology landed soft. A balm on scars that had begun to fade. Oakley rose, crossing to her, pulling her into a hug that lingered just a beat too long. Friendship's edge. Not lover's fire. Apology accepted. But we're different chapters now. You deserve to write yours without looking back. Riley pulled away, wiping her eyes with the back of her hand. Fair. But if you ever need a +1 for one of your wild elopements? Oakley laughed. The sound genuine and free. Doors always open. As a friend. As Riley left, the autumn wind whispering promises through the open window, Oakley felt the weight lift fully. Love wasn't a ledger to balance, a wrong to right. It was the quiet grace of letting go, of building from ruins. That night, over whiskey with Lena at their dive bar haunt, she raised a glass. To owning the company and the story. Lena clinked hers, eyes twinkling. To the boss who planned the perfect revenge, living well, and in the city that never sleeps. Oakley Rivers finally slumbered soundly, dreams woven not of what was, but of what bloomed next. Months blurred into a rhythm Oakley hadn't known she craved. Dawn runs along the East River, where the water slapped against piers like applause. Board meetings in sun-drenched lofts, hashing out themes like queer ever-afters, with a team that felt like kin. Evenings lost in sketchpads, envisioning ceremonies that honored the sacred ordinary, hand-fastings under harvest moons, beachside I-do's with drag queens as officiants. Rivers Events wasn't just a business, it was a beacon, a middle finger to the beige conformity of bridal industrial complexes. Clients raved in Yelp reviews. Oakley didn't just plan our wedding, she midwifed our love. Referrals snowballed. And with them, Oakley's confidence swelled. A tide she rode without apology. But ghosts, as Lena liked to say, were sticky. Riley's friendship probes came in fits and starts. A text about a gallery opening in Chelsea. A voice memo dissecting some indie flick they'd once binge-watched. Oakley responded politely, boundaries firm as Brooklyn brownstone stoops. She wasn't naive. Riley's remorse carried the undercurrent of longing, a siren song tempting her back to jagged rocks. Yet curiosity nagged. What had become of the woman who'd traded passion for pedigree? The answer arrived via a frantic call on a sleety December afternoon. Oakley was buried in poinsettia orders for a holiday micro-wedding when her phone lit up. Riley's name? Photo from their Paris trip. Eiffel Tower glow framing her mischievous grin. Oak? It's me. Shit. I need help. The plea cracked something in Oakley. Old instincts flaring. What's wrong? Pause. Ragged breathing. I'm crashing at this Airbnb in the village. Chad's lawyer is circling like a vulture. Prenup bullshit. Alimony wars. And my family's. They're done. Mom sent a courier with my things this morning. Like I'm some shameful secret finally evicted. Oakley's grip tightened on the receiver. The Kensingtons, pillars of Connecticut golf clubs and Hampton's galas, cutting off their prodigal daughter? It was poetic. Almost. Where are you exactly? I'll come over. The Airbnb was a cozy garret overlooking Washington Square Park, strung with fairy lights that did little to chase the gloom. Riley answered the door in oversized sweats. Hair a bird's nest. Eyes puffy but defiant. You didn't have to, she mumbled, stepping aside. The place smelled of takeout lo mein and unwashed despair. Unopened boxes stamped with designer labels. A half-empty bottle of Pinot on the coffee table. Oakley scanned it all. Maternal instincts warring with wariness. Water? Tea? Or are we going straight to the what the fuck portion? Riley collapsed onto the sagging couch, hugging a throw pillow like a shield. The latter. Chad's suing for everything, the co-op, the summer place. Says I fraudulently induced the marriage by not disclosing. As if our history makes me defective. Her voice broke on the last word. And Oakley sank beside her. Close but not touching. That's bullshit, Oakley said firmly, channeling the steel she'd forged in boardrooms. New York's got strong protections for same-sex history in divorce cases. It's not grounds for annulment. You need a shark, not a goldfish. I know a family lawyer, queer as they come, specializes in high-net-worth messes like this. Riley's head snapped up, gratitude flooding her features. Why are you being so kind? After everything, Oakley shrugged, the truth a knot in her throat. Because humanity isn't a zero-sum game. You hurt me deeply, but that doesn't make you irredeemable. And frankly, seeing you like this, it's a reminder that no one's armor is bulletproof. They talked for hours, the winter sun dipping low, painting the room in bruised purples. Riley unspooled the unraveling. The honeymoon fights over Chad's porn habits. The therapy sessions where she'd admitted her queerness only to be gaslit as confused. I thought marriage would anchor me, she confessed, picking at a hangnail. But it just highlighted how adrift I was without you. You're the one who saw me, all of me, and loved the mess. Oakley's heart stuttered, but she steered the ship steady. Love isn't ownership. It's a choice. Every damn day. You chose wrong once. Doesn't mean you can't course correct. By nightfall, Oakley had connected Riley with attorney Jax Rivera, a butch Latina firebrand who'd once officiated a Rivers wedding, and ordered Thai from the spot on Bleecker that still used the recipe from their dating days. They ate cross-legged on the floor, Pad CEW steaming between them, laughter bubbling up unexpectedly over shared memories. The time Riley accidentally dyed her hair green trying to match Oakley's locks, pre-chop. Or the disastrous attempt at baking rainbow cookies that ended in a flower fight in flour-dusted sex. For a moment, the air hummed with what if. Riley's foot brushing Oakley's calf under the table. But when Riley leaned in, lips parted, Oakley gently cupped her cheek. Not like this. Not when you're fractured. Feel first, then see what's real. Riley nodded, tears glistening but not falling. You're right. Always were the strong one. Oakley left with a promise to check in, the door clicking shut on a chapter she thought closed. But as she jaywalked through the park, snowflakes dusting her coat. She felt the pull, a tether she hadn't fully severed. Lena, over FaceTime from her shift at the Rusty Nail, called it out blunt as a brick. Bitch. You're playing savior again. Don't let her drag you under. You've got suitors lining up. Remember that photographer from the elopement? The one with the tattoos and the dimples? Oakley chuckled. But the warning lodged. She threw herself into work, landing a dream gig, planning a destination wedding for a trans couple in the Berkshires, complete with hot air balloon arrivals and a bonfire vow-burning of old doubts. It was magic, unfiltered, and in the glow of their joy, Oakley glimpsed her own. But Riley's divorce dragged. A tabloid sideshow, Kensington heiress's sham marriage exposed. Paparazzi swarmed the village, forcing her into hiding. Oakley smuggled groceries, coached her through depositions, became unwilling confessor to midnight confessions. The turning point came in February, Valentine's Day of all ironies. Rivers Events hosted a singles soiree, a anti-corporate anti-Valentine bash in a speakeasy off the Bowery, with queer poets slamming truths and mixologists crafting breakup elixirs. Oakley emceed, resplendent in a velvet jumpsuit, cracking jokes about love's labor lost. Midway through, her phone buzzed. Riley, at the door, uninvited but undeterred, in a simple black dress that hugged her curves like a memory. You came, Oakley said, pulling her into an alcove away from the throng. Couldn't not. Jack says settlement's imminent, Chad's folding. And I wanted to see you shine. Riley's eyes roamed Oakley's face. Hungry. This place. This life you've built, it's you. Fierce. Unapologetic. I want in. Not as a pity project. Whatever this could be. The band struck up a sultry cover of Wicked Game, Chris Isaac's lament weaving through the haze. Oakley's resolve wavered, the heat of Riley's proximity a live wire. She thought of the wedding shards, the help barb, the prenup poison, but also the loft nights, the wave tattoos pulsing like heartbeats. I'm scared too. Of rebuilding on rubble. Then let's build slow, Riley murmured, hand finding Oakley's waist. No grand gestures. Just us. Figuring it. Their kiss was tentative at first, tasting of forgiveness and fear, then deepening. A dam breaking. The crowd blurred. The world narrowing to Riley's sigh. Oakley's fingers threading through blonde waves. It wasn't a fairy tale fix. It was human. Halting. Hopeful. Spring unfurled like a promise kept. The divorce finalized in April. Riley emerging leaner. Wiser. With a modest settlement that funded her pivot to nonprofit work, advocating for queer youth in the shadows of privilege. They dated cautiously. Coffee dates in hidden cafes. Hikes in Prospect Park where they held hands without hiding. Oakley introduced her to Lena, who grilled her like a suspect but eventually thawed over shared shots of mezcal. Hurt her again. And I'll bury you in Tool, Lena warned. Half joking. But harmony had its hurdles. Riley's family sent cease and desist letters when she went public on Instagram, out and about with my forever. At Oakley Rivers, the comments a battlefield of heart emojis and homophobic bile. Chad lurked in DMs. Petty and persistent. She'll cheat on you too. Watch. Oakley shielded Riley. But the barbs drew blood. Reopening insecurities. One night, after a Kensington gala invite arrived, poison chalice, demanding Riley attend solo, they fought in Oakley's kitchen. Words flying like broken dishes. You're ashamed, Oakley accused. Voice raw. Still chasing their approval over us, Riley fired back. Tears hot. And you're punishing me forever. I left him. Oakley, I chose you. Isn't that enough? It wasn't. Not yet. They took space. A week of radio silence that stretched like taffy. Oakley threw herself into a high-profile wedding. A celebrity chef's nuptials in the Hamptons. All farm-to-table elegance and drone-shot fireworks. Amid the whirl, she met Jordan, a 32-year-old event designer from Seattle, with a lopsided grin and a knack for origami centerpieces. Their flirtation was easy, uncomplicated, shared glances over clipboards, late-night debriefs laced with innuendo. Jordan represented possibility, a blank page unmarred by history. The choice crystallized on the wedding's eve. As Oakley walked the dunes alone, waves crashing like unresolved symphonies. She loved Riley, the deep, bone-ache kind, but love alone wasn't glue. Needed trust, rebuilt brick by brick. She called Riley at dawn, voice steady. Come to the Hamptons. Not as a date. As partners in this mess. Riley arrived by noon, wind-tousled and tentative, and they talked for hours on the beach barefoot. Honest. The salt air scouring away pretense. I won't chase ghosts anymore, Riley vowed. You're mine now. My future. Oakley believed her. Not blindly, but bravely. Summer peaked in a cascade of milestones. Rivers Events' first anniversary gala. A rooftop affair where Oakley accepted an award for Innovator in Inclusive Celebrations, Riley beaming from the front row. They moved in together that fall. Riley's village garret traded for Oakley's bed-stewy brownstone. Walls soon papered with their joint photos. Paris Redux. This time with matching berets and no regrets. Yet the humanistic core of their story lay not in triumphs, but in the tender fractures. Riley's therapy unearthed generational trauma, the Kensington closet of unspoken pains, and Oakley attended sessions, holding space without fixing. Oakley, in turn, confessed her fear of abandonment, born from her mom's early death, and Riley listened, learning the language of presence. One crisp November evening, a year to the day of the wedding that birthed Oakley's empire, they stood on that same plaza rooftop, rented privately. No guests but stars. Riley, in jeans and a leather jacket, dropped to one knee with a ring, a simple gold band etched with waves. Oakley Rivers, you planned my worst mistake, but you architected my best life. Marry me not for show, but for us. Tears pricked Oakley's eyes as she pulled Riley up, kissing her fierce and sure. Yes. 1,000 times. No champagne flutes shattered that night. Instead, they danced to phantom strings. The city their witness. Love a quiet revolution. Winter wrapped the city in its familiar hush. But for Oakley and Riley, it hummed with the electricity of beginnings. Their engagement wasn't splashed across society pages. No. They kept it intimate. A secret shared with Lena, who hooped loud enough to wake the neighbors, and a handful of chosen witnesses. Planning their own wedding became Oakley's ultimate irony. No opulent plaza excess, but a cozy affair in a Brooklyn warehouse turned artist loft. Lit by recycled Edison bulbs and blooming with wildflowers foraged from upstate meadows. Keep it real, Oakley insisted to her team, who ribbed her mercilessly about the boss turning soft. Riley dove in with gusto. Her nonprofit gig, mentoring LGBTQ+ teens through a foundation she'd bootstrapped, lending fresh eyes. No gender-neutral aisle walkers, she teased, sketching boutonnieres from recycled vinyl records. Their differences sparked, not strife, Riley's flair for drama tempered by Oakley's grounded poetry, creating a ceremony that felt like them. Vows exchanged over a communal table laden with soul food fusion. A playlist blending Nina Simone with Janelle Monáe. But life, ever the dramatist, tested their script. Spring brought Riley's reconciliation olive branch, an awkward Kensington family dinner in Connecticut, all starched linens and strained smiles. Oakley opted out. Your battlefield, babe, but waited up with chamomile and a listening ear. Riley returned hollow-eyed but unbroken. Dad shook my hand. Mom, she cried. Said she was proud. In her way. It's not fixed. But it's a start. Oakley held her through the sobs, whispering, progress isn't perfection. You're brave as hell. Meanwhile, Rivers' events hit turbulence. A viral TikTok scandal when a conservative client sued over woke inclusivity clauses in their contract, claiming discrimination after Oakley refused to excise queer vendors. The backlash was swift: boycotts, death threats in her inbox, headlines screaming bridal bigot wars. Oakley weathered it publicly with poise. A op-ed in The Cut declaring, weddings aren't battlegrounds, they're sanctuaries. Love wins when we let it breathe. Privately, doubt crept in. Late nights, she'd pace the brownstone's creaky floors, Riley trailing with Coco. What if I tanked it all? Oakley confessed once. Voice small. Riley pulled her close. Fierce. Then we rebuild. Together. You're not the help anymore, you're the heart. The wedding day dawned golden. June 15th circling back like fate's wink. The warehouse buzzed. Lena as best woman. Cracking body toasts. Jordan the photographer. Now a friend. Capturing candids with sly warmth. A circle of teens from Riley's program. Wide-eyed and honored as flower bearers. Oakley waited in a side room. Nerves jangling. In a cream silk jumpsuit embroidered with wave motifs, elegant. Unyielding. When the doors swung open, Riley appeared in a flowing linen gown. Barefoot. Hair loose and crowned with baby's breath. Their eyes met across the space. And time folded, past pains dissolving into present grace. The officiant Jax, grinning like a Cheshire, led them through vows rewritten a dozen times. Oakley, Riley began. Voice steady. You saw me when I was blind to myself. You planned my cage. Then handed me the key. I promised to walk beside you. Not behind. Through boardroom battles and quiet mornings. Loving your fire without fear. Tears blurred Oakley's vision as she responded. Hand clasped in Riley's. Riley, you taught me forgiveness isn't forgetting. It's freeing. You mocked my place once. But you gave me my power. I vow to cherish your wild heart. To build with you. Not despite our scars. But because of them. Forever starts now. Rings exchanged. Those etched waves glinting like vows etched in skin. The kiss sealed it. Sweet. Searing. Met with whoops and confetti cannons. The reception spilled into night. A potluck feast of mac and cheese croquettes and vegan gumbo. Dancing to a DJ spinning everything from disco anthems to house remixes of wedding marches. Chad sent a congratulatory text, civil, distant, and Oakley deleted it unread. The past a shadow shrinking. But the story's humanism bloomed in the afterglow. In the ordinary miracles. They honeymooned in a tiny cabin upstate. No yachts or villas, just hikes through fern-choked trails. Stargazing on threadbare quilts. Making love to the hoot of owls. Back in the city. Life layered on. Rivers' events rebounded stronger. Launching a scholarship for aspiring queer planners. Riley's foundation expanded, her TEDx talk on coming out twice going viral for its raw vulnerability. Challenges lingered. Of course, the slow thaw with Riley's family, Oakley's imposter syndrome flaring during investor pitches, the world's relentless gaze on their union. Yet they navigated with grace. Therapy dates as sacred as anniversaries, date nights where they role-played first meetings to reignite sparks. 2 years on. As autumn leaves carpeted the brownstone stoop, Oakley discovered she was pregnant, not the traditional way, but through the IVF journey they'd embarked on quietly. Surrogacy papers signed with a chosen auntie from Riley's program. The news came via grainy ultrasound, shared over pancakes, a tiny heartbeat flickering like possibility. Riley hooped, then dissolved into happy tears. Our family. We're gonna be such messes. Oakley laughed, hand on her still flat belly. The best kind. In the end, their tale wasn't a triumph over betrayal or a conquest of company ledgers. It was the quiet insistence of growth, from the help to the helm, from mockery to mutual mending. Oakley, once a planner of others' dreams, now orchestrated her own, laced with love's unpredictability, humanism's hard-won light. And in the heart of America's unyielding pulse, they thrived, 2 women, waves intertwined, sailing toward horizons unbound.